We're John and Amy, and we're the hosts of the Totally Worth It podcast. We love to share stories that from the outside look like sad stories. But when you really hear the stories about the families and the joy and the purpose and the impact that they have, you learn that they're not sad stories.
They're happy stories. And while we're listening to those stories, we can learn how to better serve and better love those in the special needs
All
community.
the stories are going to bring joy and value to your day.
Hopefully make you laugh a little bit.
And welcome to the Totally Worth It podcast.
Have fun.
Welcome to the Totally Worth It podcast. Today we have Daniel Stein with Special Strong. Daniel, thanks for coming on. We appreciate you taking the time. And for our listeners who don't know who Special Strong is and what you guys do, can you just talk about what it is that you do, where it came from, where you sit today, and your vision, where you hope that it ultimately grows?
Yeah, absolutely. And thanks for the introduction and for this opportunity. I really appreciate it. So when I was 4, I was diagnosed with a learning disability. And the first thing they did was they put me on medications. They wanted me to see counselors and the standard practice for a learning disability. And so I had a very hard time in school, very hard time learning. I got made fun of all the time. I got bullied because I was very different. I didn't really fit into the normal kids in the normal kids group. And so my parents decided to get me enrolled in sports. And once I started playing sports, they noticed a huge improvement in my behavior, in my moods, and my ability to focus in school. And it was just a kind of a game changer for me. So I continued playing sports when I was really young. And then when I got into middle school, they bought me a workout bench for the garage. And not only did they do that, but they also got me a gym membership to the YMCA. And for those of you who are listening, it's actually the YMCA that's still in McKinney. It's been there for at least 20 years. And
I used to work out at that YMCA.
We used to have, I think everybody's had everybody's had a membership there at one point or another.
Yeah,
the weight room was like the size of a bedroom. It was tiny.
Yeah, and it's funny. They used to have rep counters on. You'd have to go sign in to the machine, whatever machine you wanted to use, and then you'd sign in, and it would count all your weights. And I loved it because you go up to the kiosk, and the kiosk would tell you this is how much you've lifted for the week, and that just really fired me up. So, anyways, I continued working out and exercising, and it really just transformed my life. And so naturally, because of what it did for me, I really fell in love with fitness. And so in high school, I really started to learn more about it. I started to study fitness on the side. And when I got out of high school, a mentor of mine suggested that I become a personal trainer. And he also suggested that I do it for people who had disabilities like I did. And so that's the path that I chose in 2011. And as the years went on, not only was I diagnosed with that learning disability, but I was then diagnosed with an autoimmune disease. And that really started to impact my training in the gym because of the inflammation of my spine and my hips. This is something that I inherited from my dad, and it runs in his family and his extended family. And so not only then years later, I got diagnosed with a mood disorder. So I've got all these different types of struggles, these different mental and physical struggles. And ultimately, that's why I started Special Strong in 2016, is because I learned how to adapt fitness for my body. And I have all 3 Ds. I've got a disability, I've got a disorder, and then lastly, I've got a disease, an autoimmune disease. And so I've learned to adapt fitness for myself to live a better quality life. And I didn't want to just rely on medications for the rest of my life, although that is sometimes necessary. I didn't want that to be my only solution. It really is a big puzzle. And I found that for me, fitness was a big piece of that puzzle to allowing me to really live an abundant life. And so, as of today, we've served over about 1,500 clients, ranging from MS to traumatic brain injury, stroke survivors, autism, cerebral palsy, spina bifida. We work with a lot of different conditions all across the board because we don't necessarily specialize in just one condition. We have a very specialized universal training program that really is safe across the board for just about anybody that has a mental or physical challenge. So, and then, as far as where we're headed, we're really excited because there's been a lot of interest in our model all across the United States, even outside the United States, which we're not ready for. I just had somebody from Canada reach out. And this guy's got a lot of money, so he made that real clear up front that money wasn't an issue, and he wants to buy the whole territory, or large territory in Canada. And I said, I'm not interested in that right now. He wanted to be what's called a multi-unit owner, so he owns multiple territories. But that's the kind of interest that we're getting. So it's kind of interesting, because the challenge is not finding the people, it's qualifying the right people. And that's the biggest challenge right now that we're going through, is making sure that we are hiring the right people. Because, I see this business as my baby. I have 2 kids. I've got a daughter and a son. And I've also got this baby called Special Strong. And it's one of my, I feel like it's one of my kids. I spent a lot of time with this baby. It provides for our family, and it's impacting lives. And it's very, very important that we put the right people with our babies. So, as far as the direction that we're headed, we want to expand outside of Texas. Ideally, want to start expanding inside of Texas. So we're looking at Houston. We're looking at Austin. We've had a lot of interest in those areas. And then outside of Texas, we're still kind of brainstorming on where we want to go, because we get all sorts of just kind of random inquiries, Virginia, Arizona, California, just random places that they all sound good. Like, why not? Let's just go there. But we're trying to be really strategic here in the next 5 years as we develop this platform. So our vision is we want to have 50 units, in the next couple of years. So 50 franchisees. And then eventually we want to award those franchisees who've been successful in their area with our level 2 concept, which is an actual brick and mortar gym. And so we already have the designs for that built. We don't actually have those a gym built. And John, this is something that, I was working with Adam on, who introduced us. Mm-hmm. And so we have a nice prototype, and that's something that we want to build in the future, which will be our next scalable concept. And it'll be an adaptive gym, something that you've never seen before, something that's very accessible, something that your daughter, who's in a wheelchair, she really can't go to the normal gyms right now. They don't cater to her. Most of those gyms don't even follow ADA guidelines, and they don't care, even though they're in violation. They don't follow them, and nobody goes and audits them to find them. So they're just going to keep operating that way. But our gym will be very ADA accessible, from the bathrooms, from the spacing of the equipment. All of that has already been designed in our model. So we're excited, and again, a lot of this has been developing over the COVID-19. We had a nice 3 or 4 month window where, a lot of things slowed down with our main business, which has allowed us to really develop the franchise. And it's turned out really nice, really nice.
That's awesome.
So right now, for our listeners, right now, your only client base is in North Texas. Is that correct?
Yeah, more North Dallas, more the North Dallas area, exactly.
But your next expansion points would be Austin, Houston, you believe? Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we just had somebody reach out from like Denton, which is an area that we don't service. So, we're open to a lot. It has to be the right area in Texas. We do a lot of territory mapping and demographic mapping, and so Houston is. The reason we picked Houston is we've already had a lot of people, clients that have wanted our training who live in Houston, but we can't do anything for them. And Austin is right there, probably number 2. So number 1 is Houston, then Austin's right up there with Houston. And then, Denton is another area, Sherman. These are areas that we've had interest in, and we've just never done marketing out there. And people want us to service those areas, and we don't have the manpower right now to do that. So that's another area that we would consider.
So tell us, so right now there's a mom listening that was thinking, gosh, this sounds exactly what my son or daughter needs. They've gotten really comfortable during COVID, just sitting on the couch, watching their iPad. What should they do? Who do they contact? And when they contact you, like, what kind of programs are we looking at? How is their child going to benefit?
Yeah, absolutely. So, by the way, that mom that's listening right now, that sounds a lot like the moms who have been calling over the last 30 to 60 days. As an example, we opened up our group classes last month. We got permission, and we filled them up within about 2 weeks. So probably about 20 or 30 people booked these classes literally within 30 to 60 days. And listen, if you're in a group class, it's not going to be perfect social distancing. Parents don't even care. They don't care at all. They're just like, you know what, there's probably more risk with my son or me staying at home. with my kids and not giving them anything to do than there is going to a group class with a bunch of other kids who need an outlet, right? And parents are realizing that they're not listening to what the media is saying anymore, which is great. And that's why our classes got filled up, and we have a waiting list now for these classes. And we haven't had, even though we trained the whole time during COVID-19, we haven't had one case of COVID. Nobody in the gym, no client has had COVID. We never stopped training in the gyms. The mayor of McKinney gave us permission, considered us an essential service business to keep training. But going back to your question, that mom that's at home with their kids or on the iPad, one of the things that we offer is a free 7-day pass. And we want people to experience our services for themselves, because a lot of times there's some apprehension from the kids to exercise. You go tell your kid, hey, what do you think about going to the gym and working out? They're not going to get excited about that. If they do get excited, that's very strange. It's very strange. I'd say like 1 in 50, like just start jumping up and down. Oh, well, I can't. I've been wanting to go to the gym, Mom. Thank you so much. No, they don't say that. Not at all. So you kind of have to you have to find a way to make it sound fun. And once they get into the gym, either that's the actual gym or that's a group class, that's when they really get to experience the life that our services provide. And so what we do is we pair them up with a trainer in their area. And so they go through a free session with that trainer. And if they like it, they can decide to do the different training packages that we have. We do in-home training, we do on-site training. And then aside from that, they may want to do group classes. And so they get to try out a free group class. And they make some people pick a combination of both. So they'll do group classes and private training all in the same month. It just depends on the person. But go to the website, specialstrong.com, fill out a form, go learn more about our services, read the testimonials, and then we'll be able to get in touch with them.
Awesome.
Cool.
So what are just my personal, question as a mom, how, I don't even know how to really phrase the question, but how do you handle, obviously it's a broad spectrum of folks that you're training and providing services for. What about those that may have behaviors or, aren't great in a group setting or need that extra care? Are you guys up for that? Or is there some sort of, hey, wait a minute, we're not prepared for that?
Yeah, we have a system in place for that. And so although it isn't common, sometimes our services are not the right fit, or sometimes our services are not the right fit for a client. And so most of the time they are. And so what we do, once they fill out our very lengthy registration forms, which cover everything that you just said, we're going to know all about their behavior challenges or meltdowns well before they ever come into the door. And a lot of times we'll actually request an IEP or a BIP. We request those types of educational documents if we feel like we need to. So if somebody on there indicates that they're aggressive or anything like that, they're physically aggressive, then we always go immediately, we're going to require that they send us forms because we need to know more about that. And then from there, we determine, do they need to be with a caregiver at all times during the session? Do they need to be with some kind of professional, like a behavior therapist, some kind of outside behavior therapist? And that has happened at times, and it's very successful because we don't restrain. And that's the one thing. That's why we can't say yes to everybody, is because it could put somebody, it could put the client in a very bad position, and us, because we hire a lot of trainers that these clients are bigger than our trainers, and they're stronger than some of our trainers, and they could really hurt our trainers if we were not able to restrain. They would just take a beating until somebody came and rescued them, and we're not going to put them in that position. And but again, I'd say we are able to help with about 90%. Only about 10% we have to ask to either leave the program or they become disqualified for different behavior issues.
So did I hear you right that some clients have caregivers with them in the event that a behavior happens and your trainer needs assistance in restraining them or getting the client under control? There are caregivers that come and they're part of that?
Yeah, so the ideal situation is the caregiver is hanging out in the lobby, they're hanging out in the car, and we are with the client by themselves. Our part of our mission is to promote independence, which means they don't need their parents to go do a workout. That's what we're trying to achieve for everybody. Now, if there are times when a client comes in for the first time and we already know that they have aggressive tendencies, then we may pair them up immediately with that caregiver from the very beginning. So that caregiver is literally going to follow us around the entire workout to make sure that everything's okay. And over time, we may fade that parent away. Slowly over time, we may get to the point where we no longer need that parent or caregiver in the session. There's no cookie cutter answer here, but we do have very, very good systems that have worked very, very well for us as far as protecting the client and then also protecting our team.
Mm-hmm. So Daniel, you mentioned on your website that you have some testimonials. Can you just give us and the listeners some of the common benefits that you see in your clients after they're part of the program for a little while, and maybe even a couple of real case studies of changes that you've seen in some clients' lives?
Yeah, well, a part of our mission includes, helping our clients get strong and confident and also independent. And so, if there's anything that I would say our services do, it's just that, our services allow our clients to be more independent. For people like Brandon, who at the age of 10, they were put in a wheelchair, had surgery, couldn't walk for over 8 years. So at the age of 18, he started seeing us. And through our training, he was able to walk independently for the first time in 8 years. And this video is on our homepage of our website. And that's an example of independence. And you can imagine the confidence that has come with being able to walk. And so in Brandon's case, he claims that he has 80 girlfriends now. That's his way of showing that he's confident. Those are his words, not mine. You can ask him and he'll tell you he's got 80 girlfriends. And that's Brandon being confident because he can walk again. And for him, that means that he can go on a date someday. Whereas before, maybe he felt like, he was getting made fun of. He was being looked at differently. He has shared that with me many times where he feels like people look at him differently for being in a chair. So he didn't have confidence. And you can have confidence being in a chair, but that's just where Brandon was. And that's just one example. I've got many other examples where clients have lost weight. I think the record right now is about 70 pounds. A client of ours that has autism, and he lost about 70 pounds and put on a significant amount of lean muscle. So he gained a lot of strength. And again, we've so many incredible stories. Some of my favorite stories are not so much the physical, but just the emotional and spiritual component, because we've seen lives really, really, really get transformed when they start to believe in themselves. And it translates everywhere that they go. It translates in the home, in the school. They're able to contribute more to society. Many of our clients, as a result of that, have gotten their jobs for the first time in their life. So they've never been able to work, lack the confidence, lack the self-esteem, in some ways maybe lack the skills. And then they learn a lot of these functional skills working in the gym. And we're in a sense, we're kind of their boss, right? I mean, we're their coaches, but we're also their boss too, in some ways. So learning how to comply with somebody that's giving you orders and telling you what to do is great practice for the workplace, because guess what? You're going to have the same thing when you go work at Kroger or work at Home Depot or work at Chick-fil-A. You're going to have very strict things that you have to do. And if you don't do them, there are consequences. And so for us, the consequences may be 10 more push-ups, right? But it's a little different when you work somewhere, right? So yeah, those are just a few that come to my mind. Again, having served as a company over 1,500 clients, there's a lot of just amazing, I would call them miraculous stories that have taken place in the mind, the body, and the spirit.
That's awesome. That's so awesome.
Amy, I'm going to ask you a question now. You ready?
Okay. Are you about to ask me to get a gym membership? Hold on.
You guys at Blue Sky have done some exercise classes. Have you seen some of this also?
Yeah, for sure. Now let's tap the brakes a little bit on exercise classes. We've done yoga. That's what we've done. And I never dreamed they would love it as much as they do. They just wah. And even just now, daily, we do what we call our warm-ups, which is basically just stretching and moving around, and talk about cardio. They get cardio out there, walking from the barn to feed the horses. All of that's cardio and building strength and getting fresh air, but they love it. And I've really seen like their flexibility come around too. So that's kind of funny to think of me leading exercise class.
No, you do, but you do. Yoga is great, by the way. So you certainly are leading them, and I would consider that an exercise class for sure. I mean, if you go from 0 to that, that's 100% improvement.
Well, luckily, my first experience of yoga was at that McKinney YMCA. John, do you remember this?
Oh.
No.
It's where I got turned off immediately because the person in front of me did not have the proper garments on to be doing yoga. Let's just leave it right there. So I was like, no. Anyways, no, they, our guys love it, and they feel like they are working out. And, you know, we have one client, she goes to an exercise class, that's what she calls it, but with her grandmothers at like a community center. And she just thrives. Like, she thinks it's her place. So it's great. It's really good. It's especially good for those who may be in a group home or a state school setting, or even at home that there's not a lot of activities going on. So just getting out and doing something is great for them.
Yeah. Yeah.
Hey, Daniel, are you, do you guys take insurance, or are you a self-pay program?
No, we are so thankful that we don't have to mess with the insurance game. There's none of that involved. We have very, very fair cash equivalent prices since we are cash only. And, you know, I just started with a client that has MS about 3 or 4 weeks ago. And she said, Daniel, I'm so glad I found you guys. She said, first of all, she just moved from New York, and she said, I couldn't find anybody that did what you did. And she finally found us on the internet. And she said, you know, I have MS. And she said, they give me 12 visits a year. She said, Daniel, do you think that's going to do anything for me? I said, 12 visits? No. I mean, you could do twice a week and for a month, and that's there goes 8 sessions right there. So now you're looking at a month and a half worth of therapy. So that's not unusual to hear that. You know, a few months ago, a new client with Down syndrome, same thing. In this case, before he even hit his deductible, he was paying close to $800 a month for twice a week physical therapy for his son. And we were able to save him a lot of money, not have to worry about insurance, and potentially even write it off. Now he can write this off as an expense at the end of the year. And so he's saving money, he's getting longer sessions, more value, and he has access to more equipment than a PT. So why would we want to take insurance?
Yeah.
I can't think of a reason why we want to do that. The tricky part about insurance is it takes away all the control from the professional, because they have to stay within codes. They have to stay within very strict boundaries. You know, if you go to a chiropractor and if they do a certain adjustment, they bill for a certain adjustment. If they do another adjustment, they bill that way. And physical therapists are the same way, where if you have a problem with your shoulder, but your insurance is only helping you with your ankle, well, too bad. Your shoulder is going to have to wait. Another case has to get approved for that. We don't operate that way. Our model would fail if we had to follow rules like that. So thankfully, a lot of our clients, you know, they find our services very affordable, and they're able to invest in our services and get great treatment.
That's awesome. So working with parents and different clients, caregivers, all of that, what do you see as some of your biggest challenges?
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge is just that initial process of getting to know the client, because every client is so different. And in my profession as a trainer, you know, when you start with, you know, if I started working with you, John, and then a month later I started working with Amy, your wife, you know, I could right away, like, it wouldn't take me long to figure out what's going on, and I could assign you a workout program and we'd be good to go, and it wouldn't change much. With the clients that we work with, you never quite know what you're going to get when they come in. So it's never the same. It could be raining outside and all of a sudden their moods are off, or it could be like something like yesterday where Daniel's mom forgot his noise canceling headphones in the gym. but like any good mom, she brought him into the gym anyway, and she didn't let that be an excuse for Daniel, which I respect so much, by the way. And Daniel came in, and the whole time he's doing this. So as a trainer, what do you do now? Your client's been using headphones for over a year, and now he suddenly doesn't have it. How do you adapt to that? That can be challenging, and thankfully we did successfully adapt. But the hardest part is finding the right trainers that we can teach to do that, because a lot of it has to do with just having compassion, understanding, and patience, which most trainers in this industry, they don't have. I think that's probably why nobody's started a business like this, because it's not rocket science. I mean, it's just training a different group of people. Why hasn't anybody decided to create a scalable concept like this? I mean, you just have to think about that, and again, my belief is because people don't have the patience to do it. And I can attest to that from talking to a lot of trainers in the industry. And I've heard, I can't stand it when I say this, but they'll say this. They'll say, wow, I don't know if I would have the patience to do what you're doing. That's what they say. And I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. And it's a little frustrating, because it's just, some things are just unnecessary and better unsaid. And that's one of them, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. And so, I would say that is the challenge. As a company, the biggest challenge we have is finding the right trainers, finding the right people. I told you that I treated this like my baby, and I mean that. And so I have a very strict hiring process. On average, we get a lot of applications. We only hire about 1 in every 50. As of today, I've had about 150 franchise applications. I've only interviewed 10 of them, and I'm only happy with 1. Okay, so a lot, these people combined, if you take all the money these people have, the 150, I could retire today. I really could. And if I sold all 150 of franchise, I could retire today, just with the amount of money that's coming in. But I didn't get into this for the money. Although there is money to be made, I didn't get into it for the money. And I treat it like it's my baby, and I treat my clients the same way, because if I don't protect the baby, the company, then my clients are now in jeopardy. And now something could happen to them, all because I lost focus. And I can't let that happen. And that is the challenging part, because they're hard to find the right people. And if I'd say there's the number one thing that's the best about our company, it's not the training, it's not the systems, it's not the process, it's the people. We have incredible people on our team. I mean, absolutely incredible. And if I would value the company today, I would put the value all on the people, because of how incredible they are. That's our training manager. That's our operations manager. That's our trainers that work for us. The people is truly what make this company.
That's awesome. So what is something, this is a question that I don't know if John put this on your email or not, but so I always ask this question at the end of our interviews, and it's just this: what is something that you have found lately? It could be a new product, it could be an app, a new food you found, or a new TV show, something like that. What's something lately that you found that has been just a complete game changer for you?
Game changer. I can't say that it's been food. There's been no game changing foods lately. I would have to let me look at my phone real quick. Actually,
yeah, no problem.
There have been some cool apps that I've installed lately, but it's again, I'm really particular about that word, game changer. Like, I don't want to just throw it around. It's a really strong word, Amy. So I've got to be careful here.
Well, it's funny, and you can't steal this answer, but we were on an interview yesterday, and the guy said that his wife was the game changer.
He's newly married. Let's preface it with he's newly married.
And I
was going to say, he should have figured that out a long time ago.
And so I said, that's funny. John Gayhart said, Post-it notes, use whatever.
No,
whatever.
I know. Yeah, I know what mine is, and it is recently. So a couple months ago, I joined a kingdom. It's called a Kingdom Leadership Business Group, and it's Christians. Mm-hmm. And it has really been a game changer for our business in so many different ways. And it's a smaller group, and it's about 4 people, and we all love the Lord, and we're all going hard after the Lord and going hard after business at the same time. And we just, every time we meet, we go over our curriculum, and we all challenge each other. And these are entrepreneurs, and they're not passive people. So they're not gonna just, if something's going on, they're not gonna just, rub your shoulder. Oh, it's okay, Daniel, you'll get it next time. Okay, that's not what I signed up for, and that is not them. They're gonna tell you right like it is in the face, and that's what I need. And I haven't had that in a while. I'm so thankful for my church that I go to now, but they don't have those kind of resources where they're able to do like groups like that. But thankfully, this organization that I partnered with, they do have those resources, and it has been an absolute game changer to be involved in that. And my other one is, I would have to say two. You said I could do more than one, right?
Yes, allowed.
The other game changer was, and this was very hard for me. And so what I did was we decided to promote our office manager to the training manager of North Dallas. And the reason I said that was hard for me is Donna she's been with us for 3 years, and she is so qualified for this position. But it was hard for me to actually give that up to her, because I want to make sure that everything's done a certain way. And even though I know Donna is very capable of doing it, I was still reluctant. But I did decide to do it, and we actually gave her an early promotion. So technically we don't need that position today, but I always like to do everything with the end in mind. So I promoted her very early, and she has just owned the role. And I don't even know how many extra hours I have in a day now, but it has been incredible to have her. And it's allowed me to delegate my time to other things like the franchise, which really needs my attention right now. And that's all thanks to Donna and being amazing. And that decision, very hard decision, to give up that control and delegate it. And so we have weekly reports. She directly reports to me every week. We go over a list of things that I'd like to know about. And she's just awesome. She manages the trainers. The trainers love her. She loves the trainers. And it's just a beautiful, evolving relationship. I don't know. That's probably, I'm going to have to put that as number one. But then again, a lot of that business group that I'm in, a lot of that encouraged me to do that promotion. So they kind of go together. You see that?
Yeah, absolutely.
So those are my two.
Good one. Good ones.
Good ones.
Thank you.
Daniel, where can listeners follow you and Special Strong on social?
Yeah, Instagram is the best way, and it's just the @ and then our company name, Special Strong, and we like to post videos, photos. It's very inspiring. If you're feeling down or anything like that, just go watch a few videos, and you're going to feel way better after you watch those videos.
Yeah, I will affirm that those videos get me to stop scrolling every time. Every day or every couple times a week I see a video, I'm stopping for sure, because they'll put a smile on your face. So Daniel, I just want to share with you that ever since you and I met for the first time a year or so ago, we met for breakfast, and I felt like the breakfast was never going to end, and I didn't want it to end. It was just a conversation that we almost had to order lunch because we just didn't want to stop. And so I appreciate your heart so much. I appreciate what I know about your wife and your kids and everything that you guys do, and what you pour into our community, the special needs community, just means the world to us, because I see how families are impacted. And I know that people are being impacted that you don't even see and you don't know about. So thank you for your heart. Thank you for what you do for these families. And we're going to be rooting you on, because we hope that there's a Special Strong in every city across the country. So for the listeners out there, find a way to make it happen. I know everybody's bombarding Daniel, but you need to be the next one to send them an email and just help this thing blow up.
Wasn't I amazing? I think that was my best one yet.
Whatever is the easiest way for you to find us, podcast or YouTube, just subscribe.
Just come knock on the door. You can do that too.
Have dinner with us. You can take Mabry with you.
If you're nice, go ahead and leave us a review also.
Leave us a review. You never know. You might just get it in front of somebody that really needed to hear the message.
But if you're going to be mean, just private message us.
Actually, don't message us at all.
Go on. Go on. Get out of here. We don't need you.
Thank you for watching and listening to the Totally Worth It podcast.